What are you trying to prove?
Joey, this is Max Keller. Max takes care of things. All kinds of things.
Trying to prove that maybe you can use me?
For what?
To take care of things. All kinds of things.
That job's filled.
I'm sure a smart man like Mr. Rocker is always looking to upgrade.
I'm the best there is.
Max, if you're the best there is, the wheel would have never been invented.
Is this a smart move by the undercover cop to just provoke the right-hand man like that?
I feel like if you're trying to get in with some type of Chicago mob boss family, you got to go after the right-hand man's main henchman. And he comes in intimidating him. I think it tries to show like this guy means business. He's not some random cop. He's not a cop. Yeah. He's not a cop.
A cop wouldn't provoke the henchman like that, I suppose, right? So this is like very safer. Anti-cop behavior. Yeah.
Very anti-cop behavior.
Yeah.
Especially
he's too
Max.
Cocky. He's too cocky to be a cop. This guy can't be a cop.
Yeah. Max is a stone cold killer here. Yeah. And he's coming in and he's already telling him, like, this is how I can be of use to you, buddy.
You're breaking balls? And I feel like a nice Chicago, mafia businessman would appreciate such ball breaking.
I mean, what would Seagal do, right? He's just following the Seagal playbook here.
I don't know if Seagal could be undercover. Like, I feel like he would just break after 10 minutes and just start beating people up. He doesn't have time for that. He doesn't have time for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, whose hot dog is this, right?
Yeah.
That's the famous line. It's like, it's just looking for hot dogs.
He doesn't have time. He just gets frustrated and I'll beat you up.
Welcome back to the Last Row Podcast. This is episode 143. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving 2023.
If you're listening to this on release day, thank you, by the way, for spending your Thanksgiving morning, afternoon, evening. I don't know when this gets released.
With two knuckleheads here.
Yeah.
Two knuckleheads. Yeah. It is happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thanks to all the listeners. If you're new to the show, check out our website, thelastrowpodcast.com. Follow us on all the social channels at The Last Row Pod, Facebook, X, Twitter, wherever, right? Instagram. And check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And if you haven't done so, please leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to everybody that's done so far. Happy Thanksgiving, Badway, pre-Thanksgiving as we record this. I'm happy to be here with you talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Do you think there's a world where there's one person that's listening to this podcast during Thanksgiving dinner? The family's sitting around the table and they're listening to us talk about Arnold and slick back hair and pinstripe suits.
Did they escape the dinner?
Is there a world? No.
It's like they're sitting at dinner.
They're sitting at the dinner table. Like some families, nice families anyways, you sit at the dinner table, you play some music in the background. It's like, what if we're the background music?
Oh man.
Is there one house in the world?
If that's the case, we better take this extra seriously. We have an obligation here to make sure people have a nice little Thanksgiving dinner while listening to this.
Yeah, and we certainly won't talk about Joseph Pussy Brennan, during the dinner table. That's what we won't do.
Hey, he said it, not you.
Yeah,
he said it.
It's his name. It's his name, right?
He said it.
All right. What is this movie, Drew? This Raw Deal?
It's a poor name, I think.
It's a raw deal. The movie's name got a raw deal. June 6, 1986. Were you a 2-year-old Ute?
I was a 2-year-old
going to see
child.
Raw Deal in the movie theater?
I have
Who goes to see Raw Deal in the movie theater in 1986?
I guess if you're a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was off of Terminator and off these other movies, we'll have to talk about it, but I did not see it in the theater.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah, it's the type of person I can't think of an equivalent. It's like to go see Head On, Vinny Chase's first action movie, right? It's like when you go see the generic, or like, would you go to the theater to watch Jesse Pinkman's Need for Speed?
I would not.
It's like, that's the type of person that would go to the theaters to see Raw Deal. Just an action junkie, right?
But this is Arnold. Yeah.
But he wasn't really Arnold back then, was he? He was the Terminator.
Well, we have to.
He wasn't the Predator.
He wasn't. He wasn't a Predator.
He wasn't an A Predator, right? Anyways, runtime 1 minute 47, 1 hour 47 minutes, just right. Maybe a little long. I don't know. I was ready.
I liked it.
I was ready for it to end. Action/crime, directed by John Irvin, who did nothing of note after this movie. So I mean, good for him. He had a career, but not anything that me, you, or I would be interested in, or our dear listeners, I'm sure. IMDb 5.6 out of 10. Fair?
it's probably about right, but I enjoyed it more than that.
Yeah, this movie was fun.
It's a great movie.
Not good, but fun.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, 31%.
Too low.
I mean, it's fair, but
For me, too low.
I get it. Yeah. Metacritic 44, better.
Too low.
Letterboxd 2.8 out of 5.
Too low.
That's probably fair.
I think it's a 3.5. And this is the definition.
It wasn't,
it wasn't good, but I liked it.
It wasn't good, but I liked it. Yeah.
This is a fun movie. Like I challenge you, if you're a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger and action movies, to watch this and tell me that you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't think you would do it.
It's kind of the hidden gem of his early work.
Yeah.
When efforts to prosecute mob boss Luigi Patravita, and by the way, I'm going to butcher all of these names throughout the episode.
How dare
all these
you.
mob boss names, all of the character names, they're all going to get butchered.
How dare you?
Are repeatedly derailed thanks to a mole in the FBI. The only choice is to bring in an outsider, specifically Mark Kaminsky, a disgraced agent who leaps at the chance for reinstatement. After FBI Chief Shannon gives him his orders, Kaminsky fakes his own death and reemerges as an ex-con named Brenner.
Joseph P.
Undercover and accountable to no one, the former Fed tears up the mob from the inside.
Did you think that Mark Kaminsky was his witness protection name? Because I thought that he was in witness protection. Like Mark Kaminsky is such a unassuming name. Like that doesn't suit him. We'll talk about it, but I just didn't think it was real.
Yeah, like Mark Kaminsky works in textiles. Right?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
He's not an FBI agent.
I think these taglines are kind of weak. There's multiple that are the same, but I'll do it for the sake of the people and the listeners that expect the segment here.
Oh, they love it.
There's two variations. The government gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal.
Actually, somebody does give him a raw deal. The government does.
They do, right?
They just said it.
Yeah, they did. And so then here's the next one, right? The system gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal.
I like system over government, but both bad.
I feel like they should also be both on the same poster. Like they shouldn't be separate. It should be the government gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal. The system gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal.
And then on the bottom, nobody.
Exactly.
Gives him a raw deal.
Put that on one poster. Nobody gives him a raw deal. 3 times.
Because the threes, it works. The threes
Yes.
works. Yeah.
And then this one, I don't know how this makes any sense, but it's just accurate. But his trigger has all the answers.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Who knows?
It doesn't.
We don't find that out until like minute, 136.
Exactly.
And then it turns into like a massacre film.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a massacre.
It's a very carefully, paced mob infiltration movie for an hour and a half. And then the last 15 minutes are just, let's kill everyone.
It turns into a massacre.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
This massacre had an $8.5 million budget and it returned 16.2. So it was a little modest success here for 1986, but kind of an unassuming movie sandwiched in between some of Arnold's films. But, I think there is no award for this outside of, in my heart, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger's most underrated.
Could be.
I didn't really see a ton of trivia that was worth talking about, but I think we need to talk about this as a film itself. So what's your history with this and have you seen it before?
No, I've never seen it. And we were talking about Arnold movies and Van Damme movies recently. We're like, we should probably do one. It's been a while. It's been a whole month or since we've talked about
And this
Arnold,
was his
probably.
11th, right?
I think this is our 11th Arnold episode. We're running out of Arnold episodes, Drew.
We'll have to start redoing them.
Yeah. So, if we want to go through it quick, what Arnold movies are left that we haven't done? Really, it's Junior and Twins.
Yeah.
Of his heyday. Total Recall and Eraser. End of Days.
Yeah.
That's probably it. We're almost out of Arnold movies, Drew.
We have some comedies, but not the actions, put it that way. Like Twins or something.
Mm-hmm. But this is such an underrated movie that it took me forever to finally. Last night was the first time I watched it, and I loved it. It was awesome. See, agree?
I agree. I have never seen this before, and I'm going to sound very much like an idiot when I say this, but it was sandwiched between like Red Sonja and what's the other one? Red Heat.
Red Heat.
And
Belushi.
Yeah, with Belushi, and it didn't like the cover doesn't really let you know what this movie is about.
Yeah,
and as a self-respecting Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, I'm ashamed to admit that I've never actually watched this until now, and I'm glad that we did.
That's why it's underrated because nobody talks about this movie.
They don't,
and it's not good. It seems rushed. It seems poorly written, but there's a good story in here and a good performance by Arnold. it's funny that you say that, yeah, this doesn't seem like an Arnold movie because like when I look at the cover, I want to put Van Damme's face on the cover.
Yeah.
It looks like a Van Damme poster, but it's not a Van Damme movie.
Well, because Van Damme slicks his hair back and Arnold doesn't.
Yeah. And Van Damme wears the wife beater, and I don't feel like Arnold does as often.
The interesting thing about this when I was watching it was I was trying to place it. And I think we said this, like, does it feel like an Arnold movie? So you're saying the poster doesn't look like one. But even as I watch this movie, like Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't really in an infiltration thing. Like you could say True Lies. So True Lies was a thing, but he was already a secret agent. Like it was different. Like different. This movie screamed to me, like we joked about it earlier, it was more like a Steven Seagal movie until the end when it became a massacre.
Arnold, it was Commando Part 2 at the end, basically. Where, I agree. This kind of seems like a Seagal movie from the start. Disgraced cop, gets back in, goes undercover, mafia guys. It's something Seagal could and would have done.
Yeah. And it's prior to Seagal becoming an actor or action star or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't think it doesn't feel like a Van Damme movie either because I don't think he could have pulled this off. Like Arnold was so weirdly placed in this, but I loved it because of that. Like I liked it, and it had very distinct parts that we'll kind of walk through in a bit here. But I don't know. Was there anything that stood out to you that made it like a solid action movie or an Arnold movie to you at like a high level?
No, again, like it not being an Arnold movie, I kind of liked the twist though. I did like Arnold with the slick back hair, acting cocky, and is this kind of new to Arnold at this time?
It was.
He wasn't really cocky in Commando. Terminator, he was a robot. So this is like
he's a robot.
This is pre-Predator, pre-Running Man. This is great. Like this is a good like stepping stone for Arnold to become a better actor, right?
I think when you look at where this sits in his filmography, it looks like something that then started the trajectory of it gave him some experience to really hone his acting chops. Like I know people say he's a bad actor, but like he was good in this. I thought he was great.
This was great practice for him. This is a good practice movie to like actually portray a normal human being and not a robot and not a warrior and not like some madman in the jungle, running away from Predator. This is an actual guy on the streets kind of role that like, was new to him.
It is the kind of movie though you see where it's like, hey, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger infiltrating the mob. Like he doesn't blend in at all.
No, he doesn't.
What do you think of the name Mark Kaminsky? Like we've done this in some older episodes where we say, okay, what's his best name of his character?
Yeah, Van Damme has some great ones for sure.
What do you, when you look at like all of the movies that he's been in, like where does Mark Kaminsky / Joseph P. Pussy Brenner fit within this whole thing?
Probably, towards the bottom where Harry Tasker lies, right?
I like Harry Tasker.
I think like Harry Tasker? Oh,
I do.
No, but I mean, it's no John Matrix. It's no Jack Slater.
Yeah.
It's no Dutch. Yeah.
Dutch is like my favorite one, I think, of all. And, it's up there. I get maybe John Matrix is probably the best one.
Matrix, to me, it's Matrix and Jack Slater.
Yeah.
And underrated Jericho Kane.
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one.
Which is a movie we have to do.
Yeah. I want to do that.
We'll do it in 2024.
We definitely have to.
Yeah.
What are there any other movies that maybe we've talked about here that you definitely want to do? So you would say End of Days or
Jericho for sure. I want to do Twins. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, him and DeVito. Awesome. Let's do it. We got to do that in 2024 too. We got to complete Arnold. We have to complete his filmography. We have to complete someone's filmography, and Arnold's the closest one to it. This is the 11th Arnold movie we've done, which is crazy. So we've got to complete his filmography up into his stopping point of T3, right?
Yeah. So you're saying to me that you're going to go back and watch some fantasy movies, Conan, with me? You're going to do that?
maybe we can skip Conan and Red Sonja. We don't have to do those movies.
He doesn't want it.
And we don't have to do the Belushi movie either. I don't know. Maybe it's
Red
good.
Heat. I don't know. We could. We'll see.
I don't like Russian movies. I don't like movies set in Russia.
But there's like mob movies. Like I just watched the new what's it called? That Chris Hemsworth movie that's on Netflix, and that was set in like Eastern Europe, and I thought that was really good. I
don't know why. It just turns me off. The setting of Eastern Europe like turns me off.
Like it's depressing
movies.
or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. That's not.
It's like up there with space
problem.
movies.
Not the world's problem. That's my problem.
You know what I love about this movie, and it's something that I think you noticed too. What'd you think of that song? Like we talked about the Jumanji little riff.
Yeah.
How is it that we get two movies back to back with like a little riff?
And then sometimes they put the saxophone in, right?
Yeah.
I love that in movies that have the continuous theme song. And that's an 80s movie, action movie trope that died. That
Lethal
was
Weapon.
it's a bad idea for it to die because it belongs. And then like, at the end, right, when the guy's trying to walk again in the hospital, and who better than Arnold, by the way, to motivate you to walk again after you've been shot, you know, they do the sad one, right?
Yeah.
They put like flutes in and stuff. Love it.
It was really great. See, I wish one day I'll have a soundboard for this show, and we'll have that. We'll have the Jumanji sound. We got to get a villain scale little drop so we could have some of these. The other thing that I liked too about these style of movies, before we get into Kaminsky and the rest of it, is I just love like the idea of the one-liner. And this movie was full of them. It was like there was so many. Was there any quote that really stood out to you? I mean, there's so many good ones, but I don't know. Did you like the one-liner? And if so, was there one that stood out to you?
I like the one where Max took his picture and he's like, "Yeah, I'll make you a copy. I'm not a sentimental guy."
I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
I also loved when he was having the trouble with his wife in the beginning, and it was like this sad way where he's like, "You should not drink and bake."
You should not drink and bake. She threw cake at him, man. And by the way, that's what was for dinner. And like he gave her that look like, oh man.
That cake did not look very
Which
appealing.
by the way, you know, a lot of by the ways. He says, what does he say? He goes, that's how we will get fat. And she's like, we are fat. And it was very, you know, for a drunk lady, for a drunk wild woman, right, you know, it's pretty insightful. You know, we are fat. We are becoming fat.
It was
they're just existing. They're grazing like cows.
It was a deep line there.
It's a deep line for a drunk person.
The one that Arnold didn't say that I thought was good, and I don't mean to turn this into us just reading every quote, but it was Roca, who I thought is like one of the most underrated characters. We'll talk about that in the villain scale, but it was him and the rival crime boss, the family guy, Kaminsky. Or Lemansky, sorry. I'm talking about Lemansky, Kaminsky, Roca, all these guys. But
butcher the names.
Lemansky says something about it's costing us a lot of money to get together because now my time is worth as much as yours. And Roca hits him up with it, you know, it's worth more because you got less of it. Like I thought that was like such a
his years are rare.
Like a badass way to say like you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that guy was awesome. Like I love some of the lines in this, and that was like one of my favorite non-Arnold lines in the whole movie.
We'll get to it in the villain scale, but top-notch right-hand man.
Oh
yeah.
Sure. This might be breaking the villain scale. So let's talk about the movie. Let's just jump right into it. So set this up for people. Where is Mark Kaminsky at in the beginning in this movie?
Okay. I'm going to be the wrong person to set this movie up because I forget exactly why he was disgraced. What crime did he do or not do?
He beat up like a molester, basically.
Yeah. So he police brutality'd a person who deserved it, basically, right?
Essentially, yes.
But you can't do that. You know, you got to stay on the law. You're not above the law. He's not Seagal, right? Seagal would get celebrated for police brutality, not Arnold.
I think what's it called? His buddy named Harry even says it. He's like, "Well, this is before they like let us do that."
The good old days, right? Yeah. So he was a disgraced FBI agent. Now he's the sheriff of this small town and just super overqualified for his job. He's chasing down this police bike impersonator, going on this wild speed chase that's too good for this movie, I feel.
Yeah, it was so weirdly
Such an
placed.
Entertaining Jeep versus motorcycle chase. And he's doing this because he's overqualified. This is as much action as he's going to see all year, right?
Do you think he did it on purpose? Like he cat and moused him, like just to have fun?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Like he had to do something to get out of that, get off that desk, right?
I think, you know, that chase was a good way to show you this guy's capable. At first I was like, is he a cop? I thought he was just a random citizen doing it because they didn't let you know that he was a cop until he takes him to the station when he's like, oh, hey, sheriff.
Yeah.
Book him.
Yeah. You're on the Jeep, like unassuming. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
So he's in this small town. I mean, he's got to be bored, right? Because he was essentially in the FBI, I assumed in Chicago or New York. I couldn't remember, but it was one major city. I think it was Chicago, right? Did she say New York?
I don't recall. It doesn't matter.
His life is kind of, like you said, it's kind of boring. His wife's unhappy. She's not happy that they got out of there. I mean, I don't know. It's like she sort of blames him for what happened, but do you think that's fair for her to put that on him?
She misses the good life, and she probably had friends, that's fair, I guess, to like be torn away from your friends and maybe family. And now we live in this small town and who knows the hell where. She's taking it out on him. Why don't you just divorce him? Like, why are you going to be unhappy? It's not like they're in witness protection or something like that.
That threw me off because
are they? I don't know.
think they are, but it seemed like they were, which is weird because when Harry, his boss, comes down, that dad from the Christmas Story, that guy from that thing, this movie's full of those guys from those things. It's like they meet in the marriage counseling office because they have to make it a complete secret because Harry's kind of off doing his own thing. But like at that time when I was watching this, it made me almost feel as if he was also in witness protection.
No,
because it's like he's this big name guy.
But his goal is to get back into the FBI, so there's no witness protection. I think it's just the only job he could get, small town sheriff, because he was disgraced.
What do you think of witness protection as a whole? Because there's a component of this in the movie. If you set it up for people, it's the cabin, right?
Yeah. So the main point of Arnold infiltrating the mafia undercover is because his former boss or partner, whoever, who is now the boss of the FBI.
FBI chief, yeah.
Yeah, FBI chief. His son, who was an FBI or a witness protection agent, gets brutally murdered in this witness protection log cabin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're a rat for the mafia, right?
Yeah.
Setting up Drew Rahali, mafia rat.
Mafia
right?
rat.
Yeah. Would you trust the police to protect you properly in witness protection?
No, and I also feel, isn't it better if you're hiding in plain sight? Like they're in this cabin. Like I don't know, man.
Did you see? The guy was using a sniper rifle to shoot people at point blank range.
True.
If you were hiding in plain sight, he would just get up on that rooftop to make it easy for himself.
But they can't like make a murder in the middle of like Chicago proper, right?
Yeah,
I guess they could.
Okay. Yeah, the massacre at a secluded log cabin is easier
obvious
to get away with. Yeah,
they could have dropped a bomb on the place.
Yes.
They didn't even need to shoot it up. They could have just dropped a bomb.
They did, didn't they? They chucked grenades in there.
They did. Like it's easier to go murder out like all of the agents, and they're the sitting ducks. Like they're waiting to get shot.
Yeah, they were not ready at all.
No,
right? You think that like if they were playing cards, they were laying down. It's like none of them were ready for an attack. Yeah.
And it's like they were basically waiting to get shot at. Like they had guys looking out. You're in the middle of the woods. Like if those guys are sneaking up on you, you're sitting ducks.
Right. And why was it like, to me, it reminded me of the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Where the bad guys were using guerrilla warfare and the cops they had no idea that they were allowed to duck and cover.
Should they have had cameras? I mean, I guess they kind of had cameras, but it was like, there was no
booby traps to like sound alarms. Yeah.
Why didn't they had strings in the woods like the tripwires?
You know who set up tripwire strings? Jason Voorhees, and he's like a mental midget, right?
Yeah, he was.
And Jason Voorhees, he set up strings.
Well,
right?
in Predator, didn't they have all kinds of like traps and stuff when they went after that first town when they went and blew them up? Like I don't know. I just feel like. I don't want to say the FBI chief's son had it coming, but they weren't equipped to handle this place.
Either they weren't good at their job, or they were too cocky, thinking, nobody's gonna. If somebody shows up, we'll take care of them.
And I get it because they didn't want the other guy to talk in a case, and this is what happens. But I mean, look, we've all watched The Sopranos, like Tony Soprano, and those guys are way smarter than this, and they're not the smartest guys either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think. It's interesting though, because to your point, Arnold is looking to get out of this thing. So Harry Shannon, who is played by the dad from A Christmas Story, who got the lamp leg, the leg lamp, he's going to finance basically this mission to take down Petrovita and his crew with his entire life savings of like $45,000 in cash. So is that the deal that Arnold gets that's a raw deal?
Well, no, that's not a raw deal. I think
That's
the
a
raw
great
deal
deal.
was he was given a raw deal when he was disgraced
Yes.
to wherever.
By the DA.
Where was that, by the way? Was it like Nebraska? Was it
They never
Iowa?
said. It just
Who
said
knows?
small town USA.
That's the raw deal, is getting disgraced to Iowa. Nobody wants to live in Iowa.
Nobody gives him a raw deal except for the DA.
When I say nobody, I mean nobody who like big city life in Chicago, New York. And it's like you go to that's why the wife, lost her mind. No, but yeah, that was the raw deal, the disgracing. But it's a good deal, I think. Couple, 25, 45K to infiltrate the mafia. And if you do well, you get your FBI job back, which I don't know how that makes sense, but I guess it makes sense. That's a good deal. That's not a raw deal.
I think it's an interesting deal, put it that way. He's getting his life back, but I thought like his wife was sort of cast aside. Like they showed her, she was unhappy and all that stuff. By the way, the deepest of cuts.
Oh.
If you guys want a little bit of trivia, are you ready for this, everybody? Just as you're eating your turkey, dark meat, by the way, you got to go dark meat.
Wait,
Dark
did you
meat.
hear that? That was the clinking of all the forks hitting the plates as they listen intently.
Wait for this. Just put your food down and listen to this. Deepest of cuts here. This is why you come to the Last Word Podcast.
Swallow the drink so you don't do a spit take.
The actress who plays his wife is super famous, by the way. Daughter of the actress who plays Cullen Crisp's mom in Kindergarten Cop.
Daughter of Mrs. Crisp.
Mrs. Crisp.
Ms. Crisp.
Ms. Crisp's daughter. The lady who is Cullen Crisp's mom.
Yeah.
So Cullen Crisp's sister, basically, right? I mean,
Cullen
that's
Crisp's sister-in-law? Stepsister, probably.
Yeah, so Cullen Crisp's stepsister. I'm going to test my DS here with all the
best
S's going
ponytail
on.
in the biz this side of Terry Silver.
She didn't even have a ponytail. She should have had one. But
Cullen Crisp.
Deepest of cuts, and I hope you didn't spit out any food there or anything. But
that's like a that lady's daughter.
That lady's daughter.
That lady from that thing's daughter, who no one's ever seen before.
Yeah, no one even knows who's the hell's Cullen Crisp. If you guys listen to the show, you know Cullen Crisp. Yeah. So Cullen Crisp's stepsister, she's in this movie. But I didn't think like they used her much. Like she was an unhappy spouse or partner, and then it's like she goes away, and then. It's weird, right?
It confuses the love story later on in the movie. Where it's like they should have been divorced, or the wife shouldn't even have been in the movie. She should have been referenced as like, oh, my wife left me after I got disgraced because she thought I was a bad guy, or whatever the case may be. Like, why have her in the movie just to be rotten for one scene?
Yeah.
Scene makes Arnold sympathetic in a way, but
I guess.
I don't know.
I guess if you're going to make him be a killing machine in the end, you maybe need to make him also be a good husband that won't commit adultery, I guess. Yeah. Maybe that's your way. But before we talk about him going undercover, I have a question for you. Are you a Jeep guy? Are you a Jeep guy?
No. I mean, the thing is, like, if I bought a Jeep, it would be automatic, and I'd probably get shunned from the Jeep Society.
It's not a Jeep thing for you?
For not having a manual Jeep. I don't know. Like, I feel like someone would, like, make fun of me for that, which I think is unfair, but whatever. No, yeah, I've never been an outdoorsman, so it's like I feel like I'd be a poseur.
But how do you become part of the Jeep community? Like I don't get it, because he had a pretty sweet Jeep.
There's no initiation, Drew. I think you just go buy a Jeep.
You put the sticker on your car?
Yeah, you just go it's a Jeep thing. I wouldn't understand.
But I have to ask you a question, because I'm not a Jeep guy and I don't know the etiquette on this.
Yeah.
But like, what's the etiquette and the protocol for like driving with no top and no doors? Like I think in Pennsylvania here, by the way, I saw that it's illegal to drive without the doors. Like you need the doors.
Yeah.
But the Jeep, it looked, I don't know which model it was. Maybe it was a CJ or something, but he had no top and no doors, and he was driving out in public.
Yeah.
But then he got home and he didn't put it in the garage. So he just left it out in the driveway. Did that stress you out a little bit? Because it stressed me out.
Like, what if a raccoon just started pooping in there? It's like a nest in there, It's risky.
I mean, I don't leave my windows open.
You got to garage that thing, right? If you're not going to put the things on. No, but I've driven in. A friend of ours has a Jeep, and I drove in a
topless.
I don't remember. I don't think it was topless, but it was doorless.
Doorless.
I didn't drive. I was the passenger.
Did it feel weird?
It was scary. It was a little scary. You have your seatbelts on, but it was a little concerning for like having never done that before.
Like what if a rock kicks up?
But it feels nice. No, it does feel nice. But yeah, I would be just like you. I'd be concerned. You got to store that thing. You got to put the doors on that thing when you park it, man. Don't be lazy. Like you can't be a lazy person and a Jeep owner. You have to do it every time.
Yeah.
or have a garage.
If he had the garage, I wouldn't have. I was stressed out, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't leave my
Yeah.
windows open when it's hot out. Like
Yeah.
what if a bird craps in your car? What if something
Yeah.
comes in there? Like he's got the whole thing open.
Imagine your nice leather seats and all of a sudden there's bird crap. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it could be an attack. Where I park in front of my house, I am a constant attack of birds shitting on my car. I would not be allowed to have a topless vehicle.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
What about? So do you think when he drove undercover, or we have to talk about him going undercover, him going to this chemical plant? Should he have taken the Jeep instead of the cop car?
Oh, yeah, then that would have been more realistic, but you can't blow up your Jeep.
Can't blow the Jeep up. He might need that when he gets out.
Such good resale value. I mean, you can't just waste it like that.
He might need that.
Yeah.
What do you think of him faking his own death here?
I think it was a little risky because he almost literally died. Did you think he thought the explosion was going to be that big?
He underestimated it.
He was getting the brushback as he was driving away, and it was very dangerous, Drew. He blew up a whole plant it was very selfish of him.
This was like Batman blowing up Axis Chemicals.
This might have been a worse crime than him beating police brutality, the child molester, right?
Like, what about all the people that he ruined their jobs? This is small town America, and now they can't go to work
Excuse
tomorrow.
me, was someone in there? How did he know that place was empty?
He said, I'm investigating a break-in. And then how many jobs did he put people out of?
Yeah.
This is like, small town America.
Yeah. I'm not even worried about the jobs. I'm worried about the people that were working the night shift, Drew.
I mean, it was locked up, but there's got to be a security guard, right?
I mean, I feel like there were cars in the parking lot. Thought I saw some cars.
In fairness, it was probably one of the cooler driving away from it or walking away from an explosion in the Cool Guys and Explosions scenes.
A hell of an effect for a lower budget action movie. I'll say that.
Yeah, I thought it was really great.
Yeah.
So he fakes his death. I was under the impression that he faked his death with his wife knowing too. But he's got to infiltrate this crime family here. He knows about the Patravitas and all this stuff. I want to ask you, what do you think about the families in Chicago? Is this like, is Chicago second place to New York? Or is that like the birthplace of the mob? Like, where does it start?
Before I answer that quickly, you talk about faking your own death and having your wife not know.
Yeah.
If you do that, which I don't recommend, when you finally surprise her that you're still alive, you know what happens? It's the slap in the face and then the hug.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's remarried.
Or but that's what you get. You get the slap and then the hug.
Yeah,
you son of a bitch. Oh, I'm so happy you're alive.
I think she knew, right? Did she know? Because
I think she
when
knew.
he called Harry at that weird place, it seemed like he wanted to tell her. He's like, "Oh, you can't do that. You gotta not tell her."
Yeah.
It was weird.
But yeah, back to the mob. I don't know who Chicago's. I feel like that's East Coast bias, Drew. Are you coming out as East Coast bias?
I don't know because we live in the Northeast, but what's it called? Freaking Al Capone was in Chicago.
Yeah. Are you gonna say it to Al Capone's face that New York City's better than him?
I don't think New York City's better, but I think it's weird, right? Because
you asked me if they're second place to New York City.
I said, are they? Not they are.
You posed the question. Okay,
the question fair. is
fair.
But I don't know. Is it? Or Chicago is really, maybe it's a tougher place from a mobster situation. It seems like you would see New York.
I feel like, and I know no information about any of this other than what I see on TV and movies, right? This is two guys not knowing anything about anything. Doesn't it seem like Chicago is more in your face in public type stuff?
Yeah.
And New York is kind of smarter and more secretive about their crimes?
It seems that way in the movies.
In the movies, yeah.
If you're from Chicago, write in and let us know which one has a tougher mob. I don't know. We're closer to New York over here, but it seems. I mean, you see, like The Sopranos is New Jersey and New York, and obviously they're all connected.
Yeah,
right.
East Coast, if you will. Yeah,
but it definitely seems more of like an East Coast bias. It seems like Chicago. I mean, I'll tell you what, Patravita is not giving these guys a good reputation here. I think his plan sucks. We'll have to talk about it, but
a little bold, right?
This guy sucks. Yeah. I don't think he's very good. I don't know. We'll have to see, I guess. Lemansky seems like a complete idiot. Can't even golf.
Bumbling fool. Yes.
Can't even golf. Messes up his drive-by shootings.
Dude, you couldn't get that ball out of that sand trap, Drew. How dare you? I'm
not a mobster with all the time in the world to play golf.
Okay,
put it that way.
I see.
He wasn't even hitting the ball, put it that way.
Yeah.
I'd probably hit it.
Because he was flustered and frustrated by Petrovita.
Oh man, get out of here. This guy sucks.
He's got a lot on his mind.
This guy's a bumbling fool.
Yeah.
I think he's a bumbling fool.
You can't take work stress to the golf course because you're just going to fail.
And so Arnold wants to go infiltrate Petrovita. Why didn't he just shack up Lemansky and go head to head with Petrovita? Like he went in from the inside, I guess, instead of more head on. Like he winds up shooting them all in the end.
Because he wanted to learn all about them so he could tear them apart. If he was versus Petrovita from the start, then he would have limited knowledge of the inner workings of the gang.
Do you think he could have played both sides more?
I suppose he could have started he could have started a war against each other doing things on both sides, but he's Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger, right? You talk about the worst possible body type accented guy to infiltrate something, right? He's freaking 6 foot forever.
Sticks out
jacked
like a sore thumb.
he can't fit into a suit. It's like bulging. His pecs are bulging out of his suit, right? He's not exactly the guy to slip in and out of buildings, right?
Could you talk about the golden closet and movie memorabilia and things that you would love to have. I would love to try on his double-breasted jacket. Like, would it look like it would look like a judge's robe to me, like a cape.
It would be outrageous on you. Yeah.
Like when you unbutton a double-breasted suit, it's like flaps open, right?
Yeah.
Imagine his would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you said, so we got to talk about his transformation into a gangster because he's trying to infiltrate this crew. What do you think of his approach to infiltrate this place and things about the transformation itself?
Yeah, so all he does really is, and they literally show him in the mirror slicking back his hair. Like that's step one. Step two is pinstripe suit. Step 3 is cockily smoking a cigar, right? And then step 4 is without permission, just busting up a gambling ring in one of Leminski's hideouts, right? Is that a good start? Like, I think it's a good start.
If I could give Arnold one thing that I think he could have done better. Now, everybody knows he's a cigar smoker.
Yeah.
I thought his worst acting of the movie was smoking the cigar because it looked like he was trying to enjoy it, but also act that he was smoking it. Like, it didn't seem natural to me. It seemed like they gave him a cigar and said, "Hey, buddy, smoke a cigar here." Yeah.
Here's my question. Like, to me, it feels like smoking a cigar is a sitting down activity.
Yeah.
I'm not a cigar smoker. I don't like it. I've tried it a few times. I don't like it. The walking and smoking or standing and having a business conversation while smoking, standing up, seems like a chore to me. You got to be sitting down with your feet up to smoke a cigar peacefully, I feel.
The only activity that I think you can smoke a cigar and do is golfing. Because I feel like golfing, people golf with a cigar.
Right.
But you need like a little bourbon or something, and you need to be sitting in a leather chair.
With an ottoman or a recliner or at the poker table or something like that. Yeah.
I agree.
You don't just stand and smoke a cigar while you have a business conversation. That's not a good smoke. It's not a good smoke.
What did you think of his attitude with Petrovita? Like, he was very cocky. You mentioned cockily smoking, but it was also beyond that.
No, we talked about this in the intro that I thought it was a great way to act like a gangster is to immediately dress down the right-hand man. Or not the right-hand man, the henchman, right? Max. To make Roca, the right-hand man of Petrovita, be like, you know what? I like this guy. I like the cut of this guy's jib. This guy's got balls. This guy's got big balls.
He's got it.
Yeah. But do you buy him though? Like,
no.
But I guess you have to take away the Arnoldness of him.
Fair enough.
Because he's just such a large man. But I do buy the attitude.
The attitude, yes. Because you said it in the beginning, like, you can't be a cop going in there like acting timid. You gotta go for it. And he didn't seem intimidated, which also, if you think about like The Departed, like you think about Leo, like he's sort of getting his ass kicked a little bit. And
he was cocky immediately to the wrong people. Yeah.
Yep. It's like establishing dominance. Yeah. Arnold went in and just did it right away. And
it's one of my favorite aspects of the movie. I think that's why the movie works so well is that Arnold was the right kind of cocky when he was in these situations. Immediately starting a feud with Max for no reason. I thought that was perfect.
What about the Lemansky angle? Because Lemansky is a thorn in Petrovita's side. So that's the rival family. The guy we said is a bumbling fool. Was it smart? Because they didn't want to start a war. And Like imagine, like, could that have gone south? It's like this random dude. Like imagine yourself going up, like you Badway. Like you're just going to go up to New York and like start a feud with the rival boss.
Yeah. It is a risk because, they might not leave them alone. Let's leave. We don't want them thinking we're going to be petty and breaking up your gambling nights just for no good reason. Like it wasn't even a theft thing. It was a rough you up thing.
Yeah.
Think of it outside of the mafia. Let's say you and I had a conversation and you said, man, I'll tell you what, I really hate Jimmy. Jimmy's a real asshole. Man, I hate him so much. And then without asking you, I just go over and I beat up Jimmy for you, even though you didn't ask and he didn't deserve it.
That's a real friend right there.
Yeah. But like, you wouldn't want me to do that. And like,
tell him Drew sent you.
Yeah. After I was done beating up Jimmy, I stand over and say, Drew sent me. It's like, no, that could backfire.
You could just start a whole turf war here.
Yeah.
It was. And, the other thing, talk about this is full of that guy from those things. There was a Jimmy freaking Fingers sighting here. He was I couldn't tell if he was the Max or the Roca of the Lemansky crew, but he was sort of like probably the Max of it. Yeah.
He's more of a henchman than a right-hand man for sure.
Yeah. He didn't have it.
Yeah. But yeah. I feel like, and this is all just knowledge from movies and TV, the last thing that a mafia boss or higher ups like is you thinking for yourself.
Yep.
Right. They want you to do what they tell them to do. They're making the plans. You execute the plans. Right. They don't want you to go off rogue and do things for no good reason. Because if you could do it wrong, you draw attention. Yeah. So this was definitely a calculated risk.
What about like just the other parts of him proving himself? Did you approve of his methods? Because he went through, maybe you could talk about some of the situations that he got put in, because there was the whole like initiation into the crew too, right? He was on a probationary introductory period. Like he was interning basically, right?
Yeah, he was interning.
He was interning with the mob.
So yeah, the incident in question where he broke up the gambling ring, which by the way, we didn't mention, was by driving a shiny red tow truck from the 1950s through the entire building, all while he had like a smile on his face, like a psychopath, which was very well done. If you want to send a message, message sent. He robbed Lemansky's girlfriend at gunpoint in a limousine, which was awesome. Great scene, just for intimidation, just to show that, nobody is safe, he says. He went to collect a debt with Max at a gay gentleman's establishment.
Yeah.
Right. Where he kind of saved the guy from getting murdered, right? By Max.
Max said, like, don't ever get in front of me again. Like he was pissed, but he did it slickly. I thought he did it slickly.
Yeah. No, he properly threatened him, but Max didn't like that, Max has, he's got to cut to certain people, within a week, or else he gets the bloodlust.
He starts to look weak too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he beat up Lemansky's crew in self-defense while dress shopping with his girlfriend, non-girlfriend.
Dude, was that not a total Seagal scene right there? It reminded me of the department store thing from Mark for Death.
Absolutely. That was a Seagal scene. And yeah, that was just self-defense. Those are goons seeing him in public and trying to get the jump on him, which again, like who's fighting a large human like that?
Nobody's smart.
Yeah.
I want to go back to a question that we said. Do you intern with the mob? Or do you rush with them? Or is it like basically you're either in or you're dead? Like, because you're interning with them, like you're not, you didn't make it. They just kill you.
No, I don't know if you're dead or not. I feel like they
know the secrets.
They tell you nothing. They tell you nothing. I feel, they give you a certain tasks. And if you are nervous about it, or if you don't do it right, I don't think they kill you. I just think they tell you to get lost.
You think it's not, so it's like a Shaun Hunter situation when he's picking up the mailbox at the package at the docks?
Yeah. If you fail at the task and it just happens to lose you maybe a little money, but it doesn't like get the cops involved, then I feel like they just throw you aside and say, get lost, pal. You're not cut out for this kind of work.
What if, I guess it depends on what you know. Yeah. But it just seems weird. It's not like rushing with a sorority or like a fraternity.
Yeah.
I guess I thought maybe you were in or you're dead. It's over.
But I feel like usually those types of things, like you get, what do you think? You get vouched for by a guy,
You have to
I
have
made guys like, hey, this is my nephew or my sister's cousin, and he's looking for some action. And
you need
he's
a reference.
He's a stand-up guy, and I think he could do good for us. I don't think they're just picking up punks off the streets, with applications, right?
Submit a resume. Can I see your resume, please?
Submit a resume,
What's your cover letter? What's your cover letter for why you should be here? What about the whole Monique aspect of this? Because this is another aspect of the mafia. Like, it seemed like she owed them money. But I want to talk about this gambling ring, because they had this high rise and they had these underground, you talk about Kaminsky messing up Lemansky's place with the tow truck. There was this other place that Rocco was sort of running, or Rocco, he was sort of running this thing. Mm. And that's maybe his job. It's sort of like Silvio with the gentleman's club in Jersey and whatnot. So he's running this gambling ring, but there's a lot of people here. Like, did they just let anybody in there? Like, how does that work?
No,
Can you get in?
I don't know. No, I think that you have to know somebody, right? And it's the same thing with like getting initiated, right? You have to be a high roller, and you have to be, and they're probably well-respected people. Like, there could be doctors, or lawyers, or even, certain crooked cops, or not even crooked cops, but cops that would turn a blind eye. If they know your money is good there and you're not a rat, they'll let you in, and because they want you to gamble, right?
And their whole goal is to get you with interest, right? I mean, that's what I would expect.
And they go after people with money who have no problem paying back, but paying back over time. Like, if you lose 10 or 20 grand in a night gambling with the mafia, they don't want to see you tomorrow paying 20 grand. They kind of want to get you with the vig, right? They want you to make monthly payments. It's like a credit card company. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a smart enterprise, right? It's smart business.
Yeah, they want your 20 grand debt to turn into 40 because the vig never goes down.
And that's what it seemed like with Monique, right? Like, she was in some deep waters. And if you haven't seen the movie, Monique is sort of like this weird friend-zoned love interest.
Yeah. It seems like a sad character at the beginning, and kind of is throughout.
Max was all about her. He was trying to get with her. Now, was it implied that they were together before?
Oh yeah, Max. It seems to me like they had a fling and they had a thing, and Max probably hit her or smacked
like
her
that
around a little bit, and she knows that I'm not getting together with this guy. This guy's trouble. He's just going to beat me. I'm done with this. And he's trying the whole movie to get back with her, but he doesn't really strong arm her, but he kind of implies that you get with me, your debts are good, but it's not worth it. It's not worth the trauma. It's not worth the trauma.
Do you think that Joseph P. Brenner noticed that she owed money, or was it sort of a chance situation because he saw her at the blackjack table, right?
Yeah.
I thought was he preying on her? Was she sort of planted there by the mob? Yeah. Like, what was that about?
I think that he saw her as an opportunity. I think he didn't generally feel bad for her and thought she was a nice person. And B, maybe he could use her to maybe get information, which he never really does get information out of her. But it was kind of odd because he acted like he was hitting on her, but he was married. He's still married. So he didn't want to go any further with that. We never see them kissing or making out. There was a chance for some action on the bed after champagne, but he acted like he passed out to avoid all those situations. Yeah, just a really, really strange and complicated relationship that I feel would have been more clear had they not had the wife in the movie.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that they should have made a situation where the wife was out of the picture. This is one where, we talk a lot about these movies where we say the love story is unnecessary. This is one where I think it would have been better to actually have the love story because it would have made it more the stakes would have been higher for him being in deep,
Right.
And maybe she could have been in danger with Max or something like that.
And it would have been, and if they were a couple in public or something, it would have enraged Max even further.
Right. And the other crew, Lemansky's crew, they went after him when they're dress shopping, but he's dress shopping with his friend.
Yeah.
He could have been her tailor for all they knew.
Which, in the end, I'm glad that they weren't a thing because you know me. I don't need to see Arnold making out with anybody on the movies, having a love scene.
This is the perfect movie disgusting. For you.
Just gross.
They heard you. They friend zoned. They
did you see his teeth and gums when he was laughing while he was drunk? And I was like, oh man, please don't have a sex scene. I was hoping there was no sex scene because I don't need to see that with him.
Has he Has he really had any love scenes in his movies? He really doesn't. When you look back on it.
No, just a little sensualness in True Lies.
True Lies,
when
that's
he
about
was
it.
acting as the Frenchman.
There really aren't really any love scenes.
Nobody,
for
we
Arnold.
don't need it.
They know.
I think they know. They know we don't need it. We don't need it.
Was she right to be upset after he friend zoned her? And did you see the friend zone coming? Because I didn't. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I thought they were going to end up being together, and I thought maybe,
Yeah.
we'll just forget about the wife because this is the type of movie where it doesn't need to make sense.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Let me tell you this, ladies. Shoes on the other foot. How does it feel? Right? How does it feel? Doesn't it feel so good to get strung along because he strung her along?
He did. He really did.
He was in the wrong, acting like a boyfriend, taking it slow. When really he had no interest in romance.
It was pretty bad because I thought he was interested in her too. He friend zoned me by friend zoning her.
Yeah, this doesn't happen this way. It's usually the girl stringing along the guy and acting all. What are you talking about? I didn't know. Like what? Acting all innocent, right?
He got me by surprise.
Yeah.
Another thing that we didn't talk about, because I want to talk about the lead up to this ending massacre, because before we get out of here, but we have to villain scale Petrovita too. Just some of the other things that he did to prove that he was smart enough. The one that I really liked was his idea, and maybe we could talk about it in the plan, but the bomb scare of the police stations to get the stuff. Maybe we could touch on it in the villain scale, but I really liked how he proved himself to Petrovita by coming up with that idea. It's impossible. We can't do this.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. It's twofold. It's smart. It was a smart idea. And also a way for the crime to be done without any casualties.
Yes.
Like he saved dead bodies from if they were going to go in a little harder, cops could have been killed in that, and during that raid. So he cleared the building, avoid any deaths.
I think that it proves outside of maybe blowing up the chemical plant, he is a good dude. Yeah, he beat up maybe a child molester, but I don't know that anyone's going to complain about that. And especially if in jail situation. And then he also saved the cops from this other place, and he didn't cheat on his wife. Like, it's a lot of good things here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this lead up to this massacre. Because he's undercover. We can go through every scenario ever. We'll talk about the villain scale in a second. But the lead up to this massacre, did Max know that he was a compromised guy?
No, I don't think he knew, but I think they definitely suspected. They knew they had someone in there, and you might as well test the new guy by giving him a really dirty job, right? Which is let's kill this FBI agent in the cemetery while he's grieving his dead son.
Is it the worst place to commit a murder or the best place to commit a murder?
It's the best place because, do they even bring the guy back to the morgue or do you just start digging the hole? The Undertaker's there. He's like, let's go.
Well, you're going to be around dead bodies. They're not going to be, it's not like they buried him in the woods. They buried him in a cemetery where there's already dead bodies.
Yeah. No one's going to look there because it's like, well, you said hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. A dead body in a cemetery is kind of like the perfect place to do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
What do you think of his approach? Do you think that Brenner / whatever, Joseph P. Arnold, whatever,
Joseph
it was
P.
too many names. Do you think Arnold could have done it? What do you, how deep are you going?
Because Harry was the reason he's doing the job. If he kills Harry, there's no job. It's over.
Yeah, those recordings in that apartment
you have to blow your cover at that point. And then, to get a job of, murdering dudes and getting out of there.
Would you be nervous calling an apartment with a tape recorder, just knowing that someone could get in there and listen to it? You're undercover, man.
I know, but it's like 1985,
The tape recorder.
Wiretapping at that point in time.
You have to
have the things on tape to prove yourself, to prove that you're undercover.
But he didn't even try to do, they should have a voice changer at least or something. So it's it's not him.
How do you prove it's not him? No, they did not care. Nobody suspected. It was 1985. There's no internet. I don't know what that has to do with anything. There's no internet.
How do we even talk about the ending of this movie? Because it's so ridiculous. I don't even know how to talk about this. It's one of my favorite scenes.
They were like, we don't know how to end this movie. This is an Arnold movie. He hasn't killed anybody yet. Let's have him just kill everyone.
Did you think he had it in him? Did you?
No, because to that point, he didn't seem like a killer, right? So then after he blows his cover, he had to save Harry's life, right? He just has to kill the entire mafia because the entire mafia is now after him. So, I might as well just kill them all. It just kills 50 people, Drew.
At least.
And he doesn't seem like it phases him one bit. Right? So if you're not used to killing people, you're an FBI agent, you're arresting people, you're doing investigations, you're not getting in firefights every day. It's not like the military or something like that. So just go from a desk job FBI, stacking high crimes, RICO cases, whatever they're doing, to just massacring 50 mafia members, many of whom probably have families and are not super criminals, just kind of mixed in with the wrong crowd, and they're all dead. And you can't claim self-defense because he just shows up unannounced, shooting first, in that car, and then going through the ducts of the hideout. You can't claim self-defense.
I think it's interesting because he walks in and he gets everybody. Like it's not even well, maybe I won't get that guy. Maybe I'll get this guy.
Yeah.
And when I looked this up, I looked up on a bunch of places. So I looked up, if you go to All Out of Bubblegum, because I check movie body counts and I don't trust this. It says 38 deaths in the whole movie, and I feel like there was 38 in that scene alone.
Yeah.
It said 13 in the bar, but I don't believe that. But then if you look up on All Out of Bubblegum, I'm looking this up. Maybe it is right because it says the penthouse. He gets 5 thugs. He shoots Vinny. He shoots 4 more thugs. Then he shoots Roca. He shoots Patravita, and then he shoots Baxter, who tried to sneak up behind him. Yeah. I feel like Roca had too weak of a death. He deserved a more of a better death, in my opinion. Like he just kind of went out. He got shot in the office.
Well, they both did, right? Even Max, like they were just shot. Like there wasn't much grandiose, comeuppance to either one of them. I don't know. Like I don't know how you get away with this on a legal scale, because when you start talking about like what's worthy of the death penalty, right?
Yeah,
is a little bit of mafia crime. Even like the lowest level guys, they're all dead, like deader than dead. Right? didn't stand a chance. They're scared to death in that room. They're not equipped to fight a psychopath like Kaminsky. He's
starting like a war. It's like a literal war, right? Because a turf war, then the other family is going to come back. He's to get a power vacuum. We didn't even talk about the gravel pit. He killed 9 guys there, 5 thugs, the bulldozer operator, 2 more thugs, and then the truck driver.
Yeah, the quarry, where he's just shooting drive-bys with a machine gun with one arm, which is super impressive.
That's awesome. Did you my favorite part about that, and you said it before we started recording this thing, was when he kicked out the windshield. Yeah. So he got a cleaner shot, not for protection.
Yeah. No, he did it preemptively. Like he knew ahead of time. I'm gonna have to have better shots. So this windshield is just gonna get in my way.
I think this is when it turned into an Arnold movie from another movie, because you can't see Seagal doing this. He doesn't do this. No, Van Damme doesn't do this.
They're hand-to-hand guys. Arnold will shoot you.
Maybe it's Stallone because it's like the Rambo side of things, but I don't think you can't get another actor doing this. And I think as rightfully as another one of those, that guy, that the police officer, he says, you did 100 years of police work in one night.
He did.
You mentioned it. Like
there's no more
RICO
crime.
cases.
There's no more crime in Chicago.
It's
gone. Over. It's over. Yeah.
And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this, the twist of the movie, the guy inside, because the whole thing was that there was a dirty inside guy. It was the DA all along, the one that actually got Arnold kicked out of the force. Yeah. Which he had a little bit of revenge on him.
Sure.
So I like that. But it kind of bookended it, right? There was sort of the craziness in the beginning, and then there's the craziness at the end. And I like how it bookended like the Arnold sort of craziness.
Yeah. That was great.
The last thing I'll say before we get to the villain scale is, 2 things. Another that guy. I'm pretty sure that the bomb threat chief guy, the guy that took the call, was the gangster from Home Alone, from Angels with Filthy Souls.
Oh.
And the other thing in that scene, right? Did you catch an A-Treat sighting?
I saw the A-Treat vending machine. Hell yeah.
Dude, I almost want to drive down to Redner's and pick up a 6-pack over here.
Yeah, it's from our neck of the woods.
Go to Laneco.
Born and raised in A-Treat County, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a cream soda or something, right? Yeah. The label looks exactly the same 40 years later.
Yep.
So let's villain scale Patravita and let's get the heck out of here for Thanksgiving. People are probably getting ready for their dessert now.
Yep.
But
it's dessert time.
Luigi Patravita, I got to tell you, I don't have high hopes for this guy.
No.
If you're new to our show, we got a villain scale. It's 4 major categories: liquor style, hideout or lair, plan or henchman. put him through 1 to 5, and we'll do a total score. I'm not hopeful. Are you?
Some people hack it a little bit, so it
We'll
could be
see.
surprising. We'll see.
Okay. What about his look? Look at his style. Does he have any accessories? Does he have any like things? It's pretty bare bones in my
He
opinion.
looks like plain senior businessman. His suit isn't even that great. It's fine. It's a 1. What does he do?
It's a 1.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything. He doesn't even have a mustache.
No, he doesn't have any cool hair or facial features. It's a
I
1.
saw his IMDb picture. He does have a sweet mustache in it, but not in this movie. And they missed an opportunity. He looked just a random old guy. Like he had some cool stuff in his house, I guess, but that's more lair hideout. So I think it's a 1 easily. What about his hideout or his lair?
I don't know. So I loved his like mahogany office.
That was sweet.
That was a pretty sweet office. But you have some thoughts about his other area where the casino was and like the hotel.
Yeah, it looked like some like random shopping mall place.
It's too gray.
Like it was too gray. There was rooms inside of rooms inside of rooms.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like, when you talk about movies where they do room checks, they go from room to room. That's what this was. It reminded me of, it's like they go in another room and then they walk through another door and there's another room. Like, where are they? Like, I just didn't think it was, I didn't like it.
I would call the gray area the main hideout. I'm going to give him a bonus point for his mahogany office.
Yeah, the office was the best.
But I would go 2. Like, I'm not impressed. It probably looked very swanky for 1985, but now I'm not impressed.
He had a high-rise building, but it looked like a department store to me, and I just didn't think it was that good.
It's
like
fair.
he had the view that was out the window, which was pretty good, but I think a 2 is fair because I didn't like the building. The gambling place wasn't even really his; it was Roca's. So I don't know. I think. I mean, I guess he owns it. He's the boss of the boss.
It's his,
but it's
not
2.
great.
I think is fair. I think it's a 2. Okay, now this guy, man, his plan. I just think his plan is like this proves to me that maybe Chicago's second place to New York.
Okay.
If this is the best of the best here, come on.
Okay.
What do you
See.
think of this guy's plan?
So 2-part plan. 1, separate from Lemensky, right?
Yeah.
And 2, there was a police raid that got cocaine and what was it? Was like 150 million off.
Was it that
off
much?
the streets? I think it was a lot. Yeah, it was a ton. Yeah. I think 150 million in cash, or maybe it was 150 total in cash and drugs.
I think it was
And
total.
And he goes, "Hey, right-hand man, Rocca, I want my shit back. Get me my shit."
I mean, I guess if you're that big, you got to say that.
It's in the police, evidence locker. What are you talking about, boss? We can't do that.
Can't be done.
Can't be done. But like we said, Arnold did have a plan, and it was a good plan. So Petrovita's plan, as bold as it was and as stupid as it was, it did work, didn't it?
It worked.
It worked.
But he only worked because he had Arnold Schwarzenegger as an undercover guy.
But the only reason it didn't work is because at the end of the day, Arnold got him, right?
True.
So is it a bad plan if he just stole almost $200 million worth of cash and prizes?
But it was his own money. He should have just robbed another place.
He stole his own money back, but nobody steals from me.
I mean, that's
nobody
like
nobody gives me a raw deal, Drew.
Maybe he didn't get it. He got a raw deal.
Yeah.
But it's like let's say you lose $20. You go back and get the money that you lost. Like you should be going to get something else, get more, get something better.
Look,
go get heroin.
I'm going to give him credit because it's a bold but stupid move, but bold, and it worked. So I'm going to give him at least a 3.
You get at least? All right.
Yeah.
I just think that this guy, it worked, but it was dumb. And I feel like
it was dumb.
He got into this with this inept Lemansky. This guy sucks. He was bad. I feel like if you want a 3, I'll allow it, but I can't go higher than a 3 because he needed an undercover Arnold Schwarzenegger to get him into the impound place just to get it.
It took a cop to tell him how to do it, but also took a cop to take it back again.
Yeah.
So Arnold told him how to successfully steal it because he knew that he was just going to lose it again anyways.
We'll give him a 3. I think 3 is okay, but I can't go higher than that. I can't. We can't allow that.
Which, by the way, yeah. So what we're glossing over, and it's fine because it doesn't matter. He tells Monique, "Get on this plane. I arranged this for you. Get out of town." He took $250,000 of the money, and gave it to her. Is it like ethical to wet
Dirty
your
bills,
beak,
man.
to wet
Dirty
your beak.
bills.
Because the cops are going to seize the money. I did all this dirty work. I think I'm owed something.
Dirty money.
Do you think he stuffed a little bit for himself as well?
I don't know, but he wanted to go back to the FBI, so maybe he can't.
I guess you got to do it clean, but he still stole $250 for this floozy that nobody knows. As far as the cops go, she's part of it, right?
True.
He stole
think,
that money for her.
So maybe that's the lead. So he didn't cheat on his wife. He did murder 8,000 people in that building. Maybe they had it coming.
Yeah.
But justice wasn't served. But he did. He stole the money.
You said it right there. They may have had it coming. He did exactly what got him kicked out of the FBI.
That's true. He did. What worse?
He over policed.
Yeah. I mean,
we can't have this lunatic back on the force.
Yeah. Well, the DA's dead, so he doesn't know. He got him gone.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Yeah.
But you're right. He did.
And by the way,
I think you're right.
Monique's going to gamble that money away, isn't she?
That's gone tomorrow.
She's going to fly somewhere else and go to a casino and lose it all.
She's going to the Cayman Islands, man.
Yeah.
They put her on there. That money's not lasting. He should have got 4 times that. She doesn't have it in her to keep that money.
But anyway, sorry.
All right, let's go 3 on the plan.
3 for plan.
Now, this is where I think we don't have a lot of 5s for henchmen here.
Yeah, it's hard to find good help.
But man, it is hard. It is hard to find good help. I think the only 5 we've ever given out was Fushan, the Superstorm. There's a couple others maybe, but man, like this is up there with Hard Target.
Yeah, sure.
With the human killers, the human hunters.
To save the suspense, it's a 5 because
it's got to be.
It's Rocca and Keller and Max Keller. Max Keller is a great henchman.
He was awesome.
And then Rocca, which I don't think you can call him a henchman. He's more of a right-hand man, but for purposes of this scale, he is technically a high-level henchman.
Well, what's
for Petrovita?
What is the difference between a henchman and a right-hand man and a goon? Because there's a hierarchy, I feel like, right?
So the right-hand man is, second in command to the big boss. And I wouldn't necessarily call him a henchman because that's too low level of a term for the right-hand man, but it's all encompassing in the henchman scale. Now, the right-hand man has a right-hand man himself, right? Which could be construed as the left hand, of the big boss.
The left hand.
But that's where you could start calling people henchmen, right? Now, the henchman sends off underlings to do real low-level stuff, like rough up a couple of thugs, right?
Yeah.
Maybe collect some debts, things like that. Those are goons.
They're goons.
Right?
Okay.
Like think
it's like a body.
Sopranos, right? Think about who's the Italian guy? Furio.
Furio, yeah.
Furio is a goon.
Yeah,
right?
he's a goon.
He's one of the best goon, but he's a goon.
He's a high-level goon.
Yeah. Yes, he is a high-level goon.
He's one step below becoming a henchman.
Yes. Right.
Furio, that's a perfect one. He's a goon.
Right. But yeah, Max Keller is a very capable henchman. And Arnold, when he was digging at him and they were butting heads, I respected Max for not being intimidated. Max. Right?
I liked him, man. Yeah. He was a tough guy, but like he never, outside of maybe murdering Harry, trying to murder Harry.
Yeah.
He didn't seem like that bad of a guy. Like he was just trying to,
I don't know. To me, he looked like a scumbag from the first scene. Like he just looked like bad news.
Also, that guy from that thing. I mean, that guy's been in a million things, but he was also Jake from the Goonies. So he was one of the Fratellis. It's like deep cut, man.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a 5, right?
Yeah. These are very capable henchmen. And like you said, I didn't like the way all of the main bad guys died in this movie. It was too quick. It was too sudden.
Yeah.
They didn't get a good scene of, we're fighting and I'm going to get you. Yeah. They just got just like everyone else got.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like they just died and it wasn't even like they fought like a one-on-one battle, like a fist fight. It's just he went in guns blazing and he got everybody.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's recap it for everybody. So you got a Luigi Petrovita, a 1 for look of style, 2 for hideout and lair, 3 for his plan, and a 5 for henchman. That puts him at 11 out of 20. So you talk about he's in company. He's right above Emotep from The Mummy. He's tied with Dusty Dinkelman from Just Friends. He's tied with Beetlejuice at an 11, and he's right below Hugo Snyder, which I don't know, from three ninjas.
No, I mean, this is an average score, and obviously it was boosted big time because he had such great henchmen, right?
Yeah,
but
he wasn't very
good,
was
he? He wasn't very good, was he?
To quote the Last Row podcast, he wasn't very good, but was he? So,
but if the movie started somewhere else and then, Arnold was infiltrating Leminski's gang, we might be looking at zeros across
Even
the board.
worse.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what it would be if this was the New York
Yeah.
mob. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to get another movie. Is there anything you want to say about the ending where he's rehabbing with his buddy? I don't know. I don't really have much to say other than it was like they tried to bookend it with an emotional moment.
Yeah, it
and
was
I
a
don't-
nice moment, and I say that who better than Arnold to whip your ass into shape?
Yeah.
He was ready to quit on walking. No, come
He
on,
needs to give him the V-sit
get your
and
ass
reach.
up.
He needs
Yeah.
to give him the V-sit and reach, the presidential fitness.
Yeah. If I'm a quitter when it comes to like if things aren't going well, I'm like, all right, we'll pack it in for this
over.
day, right? But if I'm have an injury like that, but the doctors tell me you can walk, you just have to try. I'm gonna try. I'm not. What am I gonna do? Not walk again? What are
You're
you
gonna
telling
try.
me? Yeah, like it's a slap in the face to people that are paralyzed that have no
Sure.
shot at walking. Right?
Like
if
you
they tell me
could.
you'll walk fine, buddy, just get up and try. It's going to be hard, but it's totally going to happen.
He was done.
Who's
guy was
quitting?
done.
Who's quitting on walking?
That
Right?
dad from Christmas Story, man. He was done. He was done. He's like, pull the plug.
Man,
He's
what
done.
a quitter!
Do what you want. I'm
Yeah.
done. That's exactly what it was. So
I don't respect that. He didn't deserve the sad. He didn't deserve the sad piano.
dude, did you love the outro music too? It was a full on.
Yeah.
It just was so good, man. I wish I could
Yeah.
put it in here, but we'll get a copyright strike. So just go look it up. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's a great song, man. It was great. So I don't know if this is the first episode we've ever had that actually released on Thanksgiving, but I just got to say this. It's another year of the books here. Pretty much as we're coming up on the end. Thank you to you, Badway. I love doing this
Oh.
show. It's awesome. When I think about what I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for
same
this
same.
this friendship, man. We got a great show going here. I love all the listeners. Thank you guys so much for giving us another year of checking out and listening to two random dudes just talk about some Arnold Schwarzenegger from 1986. We love you guys. We
Oh, yeah.
love all you. Thank you so much for everything, and we hope that you guys have a great Thanksgiving and have a great rest of your year. We'll be back in 2 weeks on December 7th. If you're new to the show, hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, give us a 5-star review, send us an email, thelastropodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on all the social channels. Leave a comment on the page, thelastropodcast.com. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't know if there's anything else you wanna say, but man, it's been a fun year so far.
What he said is what I say. See ya.
See ya.
Wait.